Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at part 24 of the Hercules story from Ritchie's Fabulae Faciles. So this chapter is called The Defeat of the Amazons. So we've been learning a little bit about the Amazons, their queen Hippolyta. Hercules, this is his ninth labor, and he's trying to get her belt, her girdle or war belt. And we've seen how he landed there. He tried some diplomacy, it didn't work, and now they're actually gearing up for a fight, right? The battle has started, and we're going to see how it all ends here. So like I always tell you, before you dive into the story, make sure you have the vocab under control. If you want some help on that, just feel free to take a look at my website. I have a bunch of different things there. But if not, one of the best ways you can do this is read the story on your own and write down any vocab words that you don't know. So if you come across anything where you're just not sure what it means, make a list, right? Same with grammar. If you run into any grammar concepts you're not sure of, write them down. When you get to the end of the story, go back and look up all those words, try to look up the grammar, make sure you've got it under control, and then read it again, right? This is what we call read and reread. And the second, third, fourth time, you should start memorizing the vocab a lot easier, so you're not having to live in a dictionary, and you should be able to kind of recognize and remember the grammar as well, so that you're not having to look at a commentary or anything like that. Once you hit that place, if you're able to read this without needing that help, you know that you've got it under control, that you can feel pretty confident in your ability to read and understand this. Another thing you want to do, if you can find a partner in class, read the story aloud, right, to them, work on your speaking, and then if they can read it back to you, you can work on your listening as well. You never want to shut off those two parts of your brain, because it'll help you understand the Latin a lot better, and you want to treat it as a language, not just something you're translating in your head. So once you've done that and you feel pretty good, and you have a translation you feel happy with, just double check it against what we're going to do now, and hopefully as long as you're on the right track and somewhere close to what I'm doing here, you can feel pretty good that you understand it. Or if you're stuck, feel free to use this video to really understand and unpack what's going on. But either way, we're going to read it right now, and hopefully it makes sense as we go. So the story starts like this. You have Dio et acriter pugnatum est, tandem tamen ad solis occasum tanta commutatio rerum facta est, ut mulieres terga verterent, et fuga salutem peterent. So here we have a pretty long line here, but it's saying for a long time, right? D, it starts. And for a long, not only for a long time, but also fiercely. And it's going, these two words, fiercely and for a long time, are talking about pugnatum est. So here, there's not actually an explicit subject. It's not saying he was fighting or anyone was fighting. It's that impersonal. You're just saying it was fought, right? It's perfect tense, passive voice. So you're saying for a long time and fiercely it was fought, meaning the battle was fought. Right, we're talking about the battle of Herc versus the Amazons. Then you have finally, however, right, so tandem tamen. So at the solis occasum here means like setting is really what it's talking about. And solis is genitive for the sun. So you can translate this at the setting of the sun, right, or at sunset. You have tanta commutatio, such a change, right? And it's a change of things, rerum. Facta est, was made, right? Because we have the intensifier of tanta, right, going with commutatio, this is going to be a result clause. You're saying such a change was made with the result that, right, and then you're going to go off with a subjunctive phrase here using an ut clause. So it's saying such a change was made, a change of things was done or was made, that the mulieres, the women, so we're talking about the Amazons, right, the Amazons or the women, verterent is imperfect subjunctive. You could say that they turned, is one way to do it. They turned their terga, their backs, right? It's the plural accusative. So they turned their backs and they sought, peterent, right? Remember, petere means to look for, seek. They sought salutem, safety, fuga, in flight, right? Or through flight. It means they're running away. So the battle is going pretty well for the Amazons. Nothing's really decided. And then towards the end of the day, there's a change, right? Hercules has kind of re-inspired his men. And now the Amazons are beginning to run away, right? They turn around and they're fleeing. So Herc has won the battle, basically. Then you have multi autem, vulneribus defessae dum fugiam captae sunt, inquo numero ipsa erat Hippolytae. So many, however, right? So multi is talking about the women, right? You can tell it's got that feminine nominative plural ending. So many women is really what it means. They're defessae, so exhausted or tired, vulneribus, from the wounds, right? From their vulnera, right? Their wounds. So tired or exhausted from the wounds, captae sunt, many were captured. It's perfect tense, passive voice. You can tell the endings all match. Multi, defessae, and captae, they're all matching each other, right? They're talking about the women. So you're saying many many were captured, dum fugiant, while fleeing, right? That while they were fleeing, because they're wounded, right? So a lot of Amazons are captured. Then you have in quo numero. You can translate this as among which number, right? Or among that number, meaning the number of people, of women captured, was erat Hippolyte ipsa, Hippolyta herself. So the queen herself was captured, right? As Hercules and his men are chasing down the Amazons. Then you have Hercules sumam clementiam praestitit, rather, et postquam balteum accepit libertatem omnibus captivis dedit. So Hercules, he praestitit means he kind of showed, right? It's this verb that can be like stood out, but displayed is kind of one way to do it. So he displayed the summam clementiam, the greatest mercy. Okay, so Hercules decides to be merciful here. He showed the greatest mercy, and after he accepted, he took or accepted the belt, right? He gets the war belt, the girdle, right? So after he took the belt, he dated, it's perfect tense, right? He gave libertatem, freedom, to omnibus captivus, to all the captives. So after he gets the belt, he lets all the Amazons go, right? He doesn't like take them prisoner or anything like that. He gives them freedom, and he just wants the belt. Then you have the next part. You have tum vero, socios ad mare reduxit, et quod non multa maestatis supererat, in Graecium proficisci maturavet. So then truly, vero, truly then, you might say. He reduxit, meaning Hercules, he led back his socios, his allies, meaning all his troops, right? So he led his allies back ad mare, to the sea, right? And because non multa maestatis, so multum is really your subject here. Much, much is probably the best way to do it here. So because not much of the summer aestatis, right? It's talking about the time. So not much of the summer supererat remained, right? So because not much of it remained, he maturavit, he hastened, is kind of one way to take it, not matured, but it's talking about like kind of one of the ways to translate this is like ripened, but I think hastened is probably the best way to do it. He hastened to depart, proficisci, right? It's your deponent verb there, that's why it looks passive. But he hastened to depart to Greece, right? So he's ready to depart is kind of what it's getting at, okay? So he wants to leave. Then you have nauem igitur conscendit et tempestatem idoneam noctus statum solet. So therefore he conscended, he climbed aboard, I guess would be how you do it. He climbed aboard the nauem, his ship. And noctus here is your participle. So having obtained, right, is one way to do it. So having obtained tempestatem idoneum, suitable weather, he immediately solet. He immediately set sail. Rather. We've seen that verb solere with the ships, right? It means you're sailing away. So once he gets the good weather, it's time to go, right? And he leaves. And then we finish with this. You have ante quam tamen in Graecium pervenit ad urbem Troiam nauem appellere constituit, frumentum enim quod secum habebat, iam deficere coiperat. So before, right? Antequam here means like, before, and the tamens, however. So you could say, however, before he pervenit in Graecium, before he arrived in Greece, he he decided, and again, this is talking about Hercules, he decided to appellere, to kind of drive the ship, you might say, like drive it ashore, go ashore. Right, we've seen this verb appellere before when you're dealing with ships. It really means to like drive to something. So one way to think of this is he decided to drive the nauem, the ship, ad urbem Troiam, to the city of Troy. Okay, so he takes a detour and he decides to go to Troy, right? And this is the famous Troy of Greek mythology, the Trojan War, all that good stuff. Now, why does he do this? It's because because the frumentum, the grain, right? His food is really what it means. The grain, which habebat secum, which he had with him, right? The grain which he almost means like he had brought with him, but he had with him. Now, coiperat had begun deficere to run out, to fail, to run out. Is kind of one way to do it. So he doesn't have any grain left. Well, not that he doesn't have any left, but it's running out. So the idea is he takes a pit stop at Troy because he needs to resupply, get more food and all this good stuff. So this is going to be the next side journey after the ninth labor. Herc is going to stop in Troy, and you're going to see how this story ties into some Greek mythology because you have this famous city that Hercules is going to go visit. So hopefully this made some sense. Again, in terms of the grammar, there wasn't anything too crazy. We've been stacking a lot of uses of the subjunctive, right? As we go, you had a result clause in there, but otherwise it's not too bad. But if you have any questions at all and you're not sure, put them in the comments below. I'm happy to help you. Or if you just didn't understand how I translated something or you think it should be slightly different, totally fine. Put it in the comments. I'm happy to help. But otherwise, again, as long as what you did is pretty close to what I just did now, you can feel pretty comfortable that you're on the right track. And if it's not, keep reading and practicing until you can hit a point where, again, you can do this and understand it without needing a dictionary or grammar or anything like that. That's the best sign that you really understand it. Good luck.